view up at the telly? No, I'll just leave it just now, won't I? Good evening. It is Celtic versus Aberdeen this weekend. Massive game. Semi-final at Hampden, 5:30 kick-off. Be a big crowd coming down from Aberdeen, and there'll be a big Celtic crowd also. Let's jump into the... there's not many people online just yet, but I just need to check that this is all fine. We will listen to Brendan Rodgers and Callum McGregor in just a couple of minutes, once I get my headphones all untangled. And now we'll take it from there. Tam Max in the house. Hoopy Tiberius Hound. Tiberius Hound's in the house. Dave Hislop's in the house. And there's other people just coming on. Notifications actually worked, says Brian Hart. Good, I'm glad. I'm good. I'm glad that works. Good. I'm really glad at that. Big Dez in the house. Even Baz James Boy's in the house. Jim McClarty's in the house. And Jim F is in the house so far. So I'm going to jump into the video that we're going to listen to the Callum McGregor interview. Carly's in the house also. I'm going to listen to the Callum McGregor interview first of all. Once we just do this, we'll just listen. That's Brendan Rodgers. Calmac. And then I just better get the volume up so that you can hear Callum McGregor, because there's nothing worse than you just listen to me. So Callum McGregor's back and had a week off, so let's see how he is feeling today.
Go. So yeah, been a bit of a quieter week this week, but feeling good and ready to go.
How frustrating has it been for you just having those couple of games out?
I know it's not a feeling I'm used to, so you're sort of kicking every ball on the sideline and just desperate to get back out there. So yeah, all good and feeling good.
Do you take a positive from it away? It lets you watch the play and see what's happening on the pitch instead of being involved in it?
Well, I'd much rather be in the middle of it and involved. I think any footballer will tell you that it's the worst thing when you have to watch it, but the lad's done great and obviously came out with maximum points, so strong 2 performances there, and then obviously change of competition tomorrow, which requires a full focus as well.
It's probably a game tomorrow that doesn't need much of a team talk.
Yeah, obviously big semi-final. Aberdeen are going well, we're going well, so it should be a good game to watch and a good game to play in. So we just know that we have to bring our maximum level to make sure that we're in the final.
Is this realistically, can you say that this is the clash of the Titans in Scottish football? It is the game of the weekend. I don't care what anybody says. It's the biggest game in Scotland as it stands, because Aberdeen are playing so well, and Aberdeen are right up there when it comes to league form. Can they take their league form into a one-off cup game at Hampden?
The game at Celtic Park was a kind of a warning in a way of what Aberdeen can do if you're not on it.
Obviously we knew that they had a great start to the season, obviously come to Celtic Park and we'll try and dominate the game and obviously try and get a positive result, but I think on the day again they showed their quality, they showed their resilience and that sort of clinical edge that's given them such a good start. So we're under no illusion that tomorrow will be a tough game, and like I said, we have to bring our level and match their intensity and how hard they want to work. We have to work equally as hard, and like I said, the prize is the same for both teams, and we'll both be desperate to get there.
Is there extra impetus on the Premier Sports Cup this season because it's the one domestic title you didn't get last season?
Yeah, maybe a little bit from that last season, but again, I think we always speak about trying to win the first trophy of the season, and that sort of sets you up and solidifies all the good work that you've done. So this is the next game. We want to win it and get ourselves into the final, and then we can talk about that when it comes, but first and foremost our full focus is on the game tomorrow, and the objective of course is to get to the final.
Can a competition like this, with the final being so early, help set the tone for success in a season like that?
Yeah, of course. I think anyone in the league, when they see that first competition that's up for grabs, everybody wants it, and yeah, we've arrived in the space of tomorrow's a big semi-final, and we have to do our maximum to get to the final, and hopefully if we get there, then like you said, all these things become relevant, but until that point of obviously performance tomorrow and getting through, then we can look at that when it comes.
Is it fair to say Aberdeen in that 2-0 draw has been the toughest domestic challenge you've had this season so far?
No, I think all the challenges are tough. I think especially when teams come to play Celtic, there's different game models. Teams try and do different things to stop you playing, and Aberdeen did similar. You know, they came to Celtic Park, they know what they're about, and they provided a really tough challenge on the day. Maybe on another day with the chances that we created in the last 20 minutes, then we win the game as well. But I think especially when you're at Celtic, there's so many different challenges you face throughout the year, and tomorrow for sure will be another big challenge for us.
I just got to interrupt Callum there. I mean, when you look back at the stats, at the Aberdeen game, I mean, statistically, it's a game that we should have won. And with the chances, I think we had, was it 32 chances on goal? And I was talking about this morning, and I think that's one of the things that does concern me. It is one of the things that does concern me about going into the game this weekend, is that Kyogo Furuhashi is not scoring the easy, what you would class as the easy goals. When he gets past the defence and he pulls it wide, when he just needs to slip it into the back of the net. And it's not just Casey slipping into the back of the net. I mean, you're talking about, he's got about 5-6 yard gap he can slip it into, and he's pulling it wide. And that's my concern going into this semi-final, is they'll know. But then again, maybe on the big stage, Kyogo will go, do you know what? It's time, there's no more mucking about. No more mucking about, let's just get on with it.
I tried to figure out how many times you've walked out at Hampden with this team, and I couldn't figure it out. There was too many. Do you still get that feeling when you walk out, that special feeling, being at the National Stadium? Yeah,
100%. Especially,
I know that somebody's now going to go and get the stats on the semi-finals and finals that Callum. I mean, it's easy to get the number of the finals, but then it's how many games has he walked into Hampden? Oh, Hampden in the sun, and it'll not be sunny because it'll be 5:30 at night. That's for sure. I wonder how many games he has done, but the majority of them got to get to Calmac. He is a winner.
Especially when there's big games, it's semi-finals, it's finals. That's where you want to be as a football player, and the feeling never changes, it never diminishes. And like I said, I think I've spoken about this before. Every competition that's up for grabs, I want to win. So when you get to these days, then you got to try and maximise the opportunity of being there and complete your objective, which for us tomorrow is to be in the final.
When you look back at the Aberdeen game, do you kind of focus on that maybe 15-20 minute period where they just kind of get back on top a wee bit and got the goals back? Is that the kind of key to making sure you can come out on top this time?
Yeah, I just think the whole performance, I think we have to be on it from start to finish, and like you said, when there's a sort of lull in the game, or the momentum of the game changes, that's where they capitalised on that moment in the game. So it's about us trying not to create that momentum shift in the game. We want to start the game and be aggressive and be the aggressor in the game. And you just got to, it shows you that you've got to be concentrated and together for the whole 90 minutes, or else the momentum of the game can change, and you see what happens at that point.
What was the kind of key aspect from Aberdeen that you saw that you have to kind of guard against as well?
Just the whole game, to be honest. It's really impressive. They're together when they defend. There's not many spaces there, and then they carry a threat on transition as well. And they've got speed in the team. They've got good physicality in the team. So been really impressed by them, and tomorrow will be another tough game for sure.
When it was a few years ago when Derek McInnes was at Aberdeen, they were kind of good challenges for you. Do you enjoy that kind of different rivalry now that there's at the top of the table as well?
I'll tell you one thing, my nerves just went. But that's usually a good thing, because when we used to go to Hampden, if I didn't have a really sick feeling in my gut, it usually means that we lost. I've just had that sick feeling in my gut, so hopefully it still means the same old thing that it did when we used to go on the bus, and that it's a Celtic win, but it's a horrible feeling.
Well, with you, just adds an extra edge to it.
Yeah, of course. I think as many teams as we can get doing well in Scotland, then ultimately gives us a better product. It gives people a better product to watch, and it's more competition for the team. So we want everybody to be strong and fighting against each other, and then hopefully we can come out on top. But Aberdeen will have the same intention as well. They want to win the game tomorrow, and we want to win, so it'll be a good game.
Given how well Celtic have done so far this season, was any party that's surprised that Aberdeen have managed to keep pace in the league so far?
No, I don't think so. I think when you watch them, they're really well organised. They've got a really good idea of what they're trying to do, and then what the wins do is they just gather belief, and as soon as that happens, and momentum, we speak about it all the time in football, can be such a big thing. So They've obviously done a lot of good work over the summer, and they've carried that onto the games. And you speak about that snowball effect. They are where they are, and they deserve to be there. So, we have to treat everyone with the utmost respect and bring our level to the game to try and make us successful as well.
That's it. We need to just focus on our game. I wonder how much that they've looked into the game at Celtic Park. I wonder how much they've looked into the game at Celtic Park and analysed that. Because ultimately, Brendan and the boys would have sat, the backroom staff would have sat and analysed the game and what went wrong. And I think we all know what went wrong. It's just we never had our shooting boots on at the end of the day. Right, before we listen to Brendan Rodgers, let me just do this. And the boys would have sat. Before we listen to Brendan Rodgers, let's jump into the comments section and say good evening to everyone. I say good evening to everyone. Hoopy Tiberius Hound was in. First of all, Tam Mack was in. Dave Hislop was in. Tam Mack was in. Brian Hart was in. Actually, notifications worked for him, which is fantastic. Big Des is in. Desmond Donnelly, the foot fetish man. James Boy's in. Even Baz in Celtic. Jim McClark is in. Jim F. Carly's in. Boy for Benny Offer. I can't believe the missus booked a meal out for tomorrow night. What's wrong with you? Where are you on? Oh my goodness. You're eating out early, 6:30. It's a 6:30 kick-off here. Spanish was, you don't stay here all the time. I mean, Spanish tend not to eat till about 9 o'clock. That's early, to say the least. All the best, Baz, says Hank. Robert Gibson's in. 4 a.m. here in Sydney, boys and girls. 4 a.m. Give Robert Gibson a big load of love. It's 4 o'clock in the morning in Sydney if he's still here. Big up, Robert. What are you doing up at this time? Been mad with it all night. It is a holiday here as well. It's a holiday here. It's All Saints Day here in Spain. It's the day when everyone goes to see their beloveds at the graves. And they don't have graves. They have the mausoleum things. But unfortunately, in Valencia, They cannot go today, obviously, because it is flooded and there's still really bad flood situation here in parts of Spain. And the death toll is over 205, which is devastating. We're trying to do something locally to raise funds to take up to the town house. The town house is taking aid up to the Valencian region. I mean, to put it into perspective, it's not as if it was just half an hour up the road. It's one of the villages that has been completely wiped out nearly is around about an hour and 45-minute drive away from us. So when people say the Valencian region, I mean, it's absolutely huge. So, but Valencia City was getting it bad yesterday. Anyway, back to Celtic. Hale says, Bobski, Tamak's in the house, Kaiser's in the house, James Clark's in the house. Question, we're wish for both. Now you do. We're talking about James. Des Clark says, hi to Jim and Carly. I'm going to jump through. James Boy's in the house. Tom Court is in the house. Little nervous anticipation coming on now, but reaching the spinster twitching buns is nothing to the. I'm not even going to go there. Is this the old man's live? Yep, Dave, it's the old man's live. I'm not calling it that anymore. Positive interviews for Brendan Rodgers and Callum McGregor. Says Big Des. Yep, we're going to listen to Brendan Rodgers in a minute. The one Celtic pensioners view. I've just jumped through the rest of the comments, you bunch of old. I know Toes would be a big part to play this season, says Des. Lanky82. He changes his name. Is that a different channel, Lanky, or is it just. You've got more channels than anything. Interesting channel. It's me, the 80s. It's me, the 80s. Oh. Anyway, Lanky's in the house. Boy for Benny Offer. Going to the new restaurant in Benny Offer. Brutal, it's called. I think it's brutal. She's organised the meal for 7 o'clock on the meal. Mate, can't change the time. Are you mad? Who goes out for 7 o'clock for a meal here in Spain? Nobody. People in British bars. We were up at Villosa today. Absolutely fantastic part of the world, by the way. Went up there today. Tarmac, Lanky, no, another return. I'm going to jump through that. Perry's in the house. Tarmac, Lanky, start calling him Hanky Pank. What? Same channel, different name. Seems familiar. Same club, different team. Paul Maguire says, we need to start well against the Sheep. They're well organised. The manager has them well organised. Straight for the worst whistle. Come on, Celtic. And that takes us nicely into the next segment where we listen to Brendan Rodgers. We will listen to the Brendan Rodgers interview and see what he said. And I've got to say, this is one of the shortest interviews that Brendan Rodgers has done for any league game since the start of the season. And it is only 9 minutes long. His average interview recently has been around 18 to 19 minutes long. But in fact, it's been longer than that. Some of them have been about 22, 23 minutes long. But the press in Scotland spend the best part of 18 minutes not talking about the game this weekend. So the fact that it's down to 9 minutes and 9 minutes odds, 9 minutes and 11 seconds, 9-11. That's an omen. The fact that the interview is down to 11 minutes and 9 minutes 11 seconds even. We'll see what Brendan Rodgers has to say.
Yeah, we're in a really good place. Everyone fit and healthy. We've only got one who's Odin, who's been out for a little while with his calves. But other than that, no, I'm really happy.
How's Odin got an injury on his calves? How could he get injured on his calves? That's surely a fitness thing.
Happy we've managed to get through into this period now in a really healthy way. So yeah, all fine, fitness-wise.
Different competition tomorrow, but I assume it's a game that you really don't need much motivation for against Aberdeen.
No, obviously having played them a couple of weeks ago and seeing that they're a really good side and have done so well this season. It's a semi-final, and and everyone who goes into semi-final, you want to get to the final. So we're really looking forward to it. We're in a really good place as a squad and as a team, and we know the challenges of the semi-finals, but we're looking forward to performing.
It's only a few weeks since you played them in the league. Was that game a warning to you of what they can do?
Yeah, it was a game we should have won. I was pretty clear on that in the game, and especially analysing the game afterwards. Thought we were 2-0 up in the game and had other chances, and we got punished for our slackness. And in that first 15-20 minutes of the second half, so that showed us that if you're slack and you're not concentrating in your defending, you're not committed in your defending, that they've got quality players that can hurt you. And you've seen that with the 2 goals that they scored, especially the first one. So that has to be a learning for us, and it will be. And it's something that we were able to talk about afterwards, and obviously coming into this game. So, but even then, last 20 minutes, we had chances to win the game, but we know that we have to play really well to get to the final.
That was a big result for Aberdeen and midweek as well. Are you surprised by their form this season?
No. I think it's a great credit to them. Then the first sort of 10 league games that they've played with that consistency and done really, really well. They've got really good players. Jimmy Cleary has come in and done a fantastic job. Got really good coaching staff behind the scenes as well. And I always expect Aberdeen, because of my time up here the first time, to be up there challenging. You know, Derek's time there, he had a great period, and so I always expect them to be there. So to see them up there, it's not a surprise. And when I see how they play and how they perform, then they're playing very well.
It is now starting my day at like 30 miles an hour.
Celtic. Jesus, it's the last thing I need. No, I don't want to take part. Fuck it off.
2-2 draw at Celtic Park. But what did you learn about Aberdeen in that game that you can take into tomorrow's match?
Well, like I say, I think we have to be really concentrated and committed in our defending. I think when we pressed the game really well, we created opportunities and we could dominate the ball. When we didn't, I think if you look at the first goal, when we analyse it back, for our level of pressing and our standard, it wasn't at the level. And whether it was just because it was after half time or not, I don't know, but it certainly wasn't to the standard that that we would expect and would want. So if you do that against good players and technical players and players that can run in behind, then that can hurt you, and they finish the game or finish that opportunity. So that gave them momentum for the next 15 minutes or so.
The League Cup was the only domestic trophy that eluded Celtic last season. Does that give you more impetus going into the semi-final?
It certainly gives us hunger. As I said, we missed out on that one last season. But a year down the line, we're in a far different place to last year. So our hunger is there to reach our first final. We were really disappointed this time last year when we didn't.
It wasn't this time last year, it was August last year, remember. We were put out by Kilmarnock at the first hurdle.
We weren't up to challenge for that trophy, but we are for this one, and as I said, we have a great opportunity tomorrow to get there.
I think if my maths is right, this is going to be your 13th time taking Celtic to the National Stadium. Is that ever a feeling that you get used to?
No, it's been a great joy to go there, but I think for me, I've always treated it like it's my first time. That's been my mindset, whether it's 13 or whatever. My mindset is I'm really excited about being there and seeing half the stadium full of Celtic supporters, and with an opportunity either to win a final or get to a final. So and it'll be no different tomorrow.
It's obviously been a happy hunting ground for you as well. How do you use that, kind of, those memories, that experience of winning there to help this squad as well, this team as well?
Yeah, I just think it's just ensuring that you stay calm in your approach. Is that balance between being really super aggressive when you haven't got the ball and showing that real hunger to get the ball and being really defensively organised, and then playing with that calmness and speed when you have the ball. So that's something that we've always preached. I think leading into this semi-final, obviously both teams have had a midweek game, so the concentration was on for us the Dundee game, and then we can flip quickly onto this here. So no, but it's been very focused for us. Every game is a big game, so the mantra for us this week isn't so much different. When you're a Celtic player or manager, every game is huge, and obviously a semi-final at Hampden is also a big game.
It's special for you, Brendan, and the fact that it was your first Celtic trophy, just to get your hands back on it.
Aye, it was brilliant. Craig, it was a great feeling back then, and in that first time when I was here, we played ever so well in the final. So I think it gave the supporters a little bit of trust in me that I was here to win, and that we could win, and likewise this time as well. As I said, it was one that eluded us last year, and that didn't sit comfortably with us. So we have a chance now, and that's what we want, and we look to bring our game and bring that running game where we're very strong in to a really good surface and play our football.
We're not here to take part, we're here to take over. I think I need to get that t-shirt out for tomorrow as a lucky omen. It was an old t-shirt that was it was an old Green Brigade t-shirt, and it had Kieran Tierney and Scott Brown and Brendan Rodgers, and I think I'll need to get that t-shirt out tomorrow as a little lucky omen, seeing the way that Brendan wasn't too enamoured, the way that they lost the chance to get to the final last season.
You've got Cameron back, Brendan. Does that leave you a decision to make in centre half at all? Obviously Liam and Austin have done so well in the last few years.
Yeah, I've got a few decisions to make in terms of the team. I think all the players have value in playing. Every player could, virtually a lot of the guys that have been playing recently they show great value in how they've been playing and how they've been performing. But there'll be a role for them all at some point. But of course, the sentiment doesn't come into it. I need to pick what I feel is the best team to win this game, and I will do that.
Interesting, Brendan Rodgers saying that sentiment won't come into it. That's interesting. That is interesting. When you look at it, he's got a big decision to make. He does have a big decision to make, whether he goes with Liam Scales with Cameron Carter-Vickers, or if he goes with Trusty and Cameron Carter-Vickers. And I think that's the only position where you think, who is he going to play? I mean, you think, we'll talk about the team in a minute once Brendan's finished speaking, but I think that is realistically the only position where but then you've got the Greg Taylor situation. I've got the Greg Taylor situation as well. Does he play with him or Alex Bailly? And I think he's going to go with Alex Bailly. Just the way he was saying, just by what he was saying, the sentiment doesn't come into it.
Brendan, you're obviously your main concern Celtic. How good do you think it is for Scottish football having Aberdeen playing like this and challenging at the top of the league and competing for silverware? Do you think it's a good thing in general for the game?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Fucking of course it is.
I think it's great. I think whether it's football or whether it's business.
What an absolute... Do you know this? You can actually tell how hurting the media is because their team... No, that's just happened. That's fantastic. Because their team is struggling. And rather than big up Aberdeen, you know, they ask it in a roundabout manner. Stop shouting. They've asked it in a roundabout manner. Do you think it's good that Aberdeen are up there? Of course it is. It means that mob from across the city who think they're a big club are further down the league, and it shows that when you get a manager in and when you get the right people in at a club and you have an attacking philosophy, and I've said it before, the way that Scottish football lets itself down is you have teams that when they come to Celtic Park and they go to Ibrox and they go to Hearts or wherever, and they'll sit back and they'll try and five at the back. Aberdeen don't do that. I mean, Aberdeen don't sit back in a low block. Aberdeen try and have a go. And that's the difference. And the negative play that a lot of teams play in Scotland, whether you call it negative, I'll call it negative play, I think that trying to change from that negative defensive play in 1 week and then trying to go all out attack the next week, players are all over the place. They don't know what system they're meant to be playing. It's like they were chopping and changing all the time. Stick to one system. If you get beat 4-0 for Celtic, so fucking be it. But if you're winning 3-0 every other week, do you know what I mean? That has to be applauded. And I just think that it is what is wrong in Scottish football. And the media putting it in a sneaky way, saying, oh, do you think it's good Aberdeen are up there fighting with Celtic? Of course it is. It's a brilliant thing. Nobody complained about it when Rangers weren't in the league years ago, when they were down the lower divisions. Nobody said, oh, is it a good thing that Aberdeen and St Johnstone were winning cups? Nobody said it then, because it was just taken as granted as a good thing. You could just feel the pain in those miserable...
Any competition is healthy, and it's what makes you better. You know, you'll always drive your own standards and your own standard of performance, absolutely. But competition is really, really healthy and can keep moving you forward. And Aberdeen are up there fighting as well, and everyone will expect Rangers to be there at some point, and there'll be other teams and big clubs from Edinburgh will feel that they want to be up there challenging as well. So no, but I think the more competitive, then of course that can improve you.
I take it you've watched their game against Rangers since Wednesday night. Did it reinforce any of your opinions about the threat that they'll pose you? Or...
I'll be honest, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it. I've seen what our analysts have brought through. I've watched the game. We only played them a couple of weeks ago. I think there's no doubt if there was a big distance between the games, then of course I would have watched it. But I've seen what our analysts and Peter Houston and the guys have prepared, and it's no different really to what we'd seen a couple of weeks ago. So,
and Brendan,
but we've done all the analysis. We had a deep analysis after that game, and obviously then adding to that some of the bits that we've seen during the week. So yeah, and then we'll play our game.
That's it, we'll play our game. This is why I love Brendan Rodgers. Asked a question. I think you watched the Rangers game against Aberdeen during the week. No. Simple as that. Why would I watch that? Why would I watch that rubbish? Anyway, no watching that shite. You all know how Brendan Rodgers feels, how Carly feels about Brendan Rodgers. Right, I'm going to jump into some of the comments. Right, where are they? Someone was asking about a GoFundMe page for what's going on here in the Valencian region, and I do stay in the Valencian region. I am working on that. I'm probably going to work on it after this live tonight because I'm setting something up for our other channel as well. So whether it'll be a GoFund page or whether it'll be a page that will be direct through our website so that we can have full control of it, because I sometimes think when you give a GoFund page the money can disappear into the ether, and I want to make sure that we can take the goods that we buy with the money. And the town hall, the local town hall here, is doing collections Thursday, Friday, Saturday this weekend to get cleaning materials and etc. up to some of the affected little towns. And some of the towns over here, I mean, there's one town near up Albacete. It's just a little village and it's almost been wiped out. I mean, people have lost everything. When I say everything, people have lost absolutely everything. And we're trying to do, there's been a lot of fundraising locally last night with some of the pubs round about here, and a lot of collection, a lot of stuff. I mean, there was a van load went up to Valencia today from one of the Irish pubs down the road. They did a massive collection yesterday, and then they took the stuff up towards Valencia today. But if I do anything, we are going to be doing something, but I want to do it through the town, through the local council here, so that I know that the stuff, or there's another option, but it means me travelling 2 hours up to where it's really all kicking off. But I think the most viable option would to be take the stuff to the townhouse and let the townhouse then take it up to the people, because that's their job and that's what they're doing. Anyway, right, we get back into Kaiser. We have significantly better goal difference than Aberdeen. For a reason, we are a much stronger team, says Perry. Who does the better interviews, Brendan or Clementine? I was trying to listen to the Clementine interview that is on. Let me just see if I can get this up. I need to post. No, I don't even want to listen to them. They're null and void this weekend as far as I'm concerned. We've had our fun with them. We can take our fun. We can have our fun again with them on Sunday. That's telling me that Taylor is out, says Paul Beards. 19,500 subscribers. Yeah, I saw that just happen when we were live there, which is fantastic, because but then it means that we're 500 away from the target that I set myself back in August to try and get to the 20,000 before the end of December. I think it'll be through the transfer window that it happens, because we'll always get a boost through the transfer window. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because we're trying to get to 20,000, which is a massive number. Massive as far as I'm concerned. It's huge. It's absolutely. It's like the Gap. It's like the Rangers, and I do need to get the chair changed because it's squeaky. Right. Anyway, back into the comments section. Just going win, boy, says Hank. Paul Baird says that tells me that Taylor's not playing. Yep, we're going to talk about the team and what we think as well. Jim says that he told me that he'll pick his strongest team. Carly says Lorna, the legend, has arrived. Tamac says Hampden Park is more than 5 minutes from his house. He loves to see all the Celtic fans walking through the Tory Glen. My scarf's always hanging out windy for them passing. Can I get to the games? Big Rabbi Baz, this is an interesting one. It's one that I've spoken about. Baz, Kyogo's position needs to be looked at as he doesn't get a pass. He is out of form. Maybe time for Ida to step up. And no, because I don't think Adam Ida's not the same type of player. Ultimately, I think that Brendan Rodgers and the backroom staff will be looking at another striker. They will be looking at another striker to come in, because you can't pass up the opportunity. I mean, Brendan Rodgers has worked with some fantastic strikers in his time as a manager. I mean, when he was Liverpool, he had an absolute beast as a striker. He will know that his strikers are missing opportunities. And let's face it, we've got Adam Ida as a you can't say it was a gamble. We knew what we were getting with Adam Ida. He gave us something different to Kyogo. We wanted Adam Ida, but we paid way over the odds for him, because as soon as Kyogo goes down with his shoulder, which he did again the other night, you're automatically thinking of that. And as soon as that happened, the men upstairs went out and bought another striker. I think that Brendan and Paul Tisdale will be saying to the guys upstairs, look, we need a third striker. It's all fine and dandy having Dyson Maida as your third choice striker, but we need someone that can step up. And who that'll be, well, we don't know. Belated evening, everyone, says Ceneri's coming in from North London. Lorna Gallagher says, Carly, it usually takes me ages to do my house for Christmas. There we go. So glad I read that one, Lorna. I would stick with Greg Taylor if he's fit. Would you stick with Greg Taylor, or would you go with Alex Baye? There's a poll question for you. There's a poll. Just do this. Just start with. There we go. Does Brendan Rodgers start with Alex or Greg? That's the only two options we've got left back. Let me see how you feel in the section. I'm glad Taylor isn't playing because we never know that Taylor isn't playing. Brendan Rodgers never said that. I'm not 100% convinced with Adam either, says Perry. Tarmac says Alex Ray is making a fortune from his face painting for Halloween masks. Big Des is going for 2-0 tomorrow. We won't talk about that just yet. This land is your land. This land is my land. From the Northern Highlands to the Western Islands. From the hills of Kerry to the streets of Free Derry. This land was made for me and you. Anyway, I'm glad Taylor, Kieran says, I'm glad Taylor isn't playing because Alex Baye offers a better attacking threat and he seems highly intelligent. He's got a cracking little football brain, does Alex Baye, and I would expect him to start tomorrow over Greg Taylor. The manager did say that sentiment doesn't come into it. Doesn't matter how long you've been here. Sentiment doesn't come into it. He'll pick the team that he thinks can win the game, and I think he's going to go with Alex Baye. Remember Strachan's superb put down for the press? Yes, Strachan, that was one thing I loved about Strachan. He would just tell the press as he would tell them to shut up most of the time, wouldn't he? I've got a yogurt to eat. That's almost it. Lorna says, Perry, Ida does well coming on as an impact player. Yes, he does that. Popcat says, I think we'll finally plump for Kidsford from Brøndby, and we've been linked to him forever, and the rumours aren't going away. He's banging them in for Brøndby again this season, says Pubcat. I've never looked to see what he's doing at Brøndby this season, but he is a player that Celtic have been, and Brendan Rodgers does like, and he does. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if he went for him. We either need a third striker, but Kyogo, a new set of boots, because those ones are backfiring, says Tammac. And I think that Kyogo is safe in the knowledge that Adam Ida's a different type of player for him. If Celtic go out and get another striker who's more of a direct attacking threat, that's a combination between a bit taller and bigger built than Kyogo, but has the same running pace and ability, and you're almost talking like a Henrik Larsson, Lee Griffiths combination of player. A combination of Lee Griffiths and Henrik Larsson would do fine for Celtic right now if they could find such a thing. Anyway, Tarmac says we need a third striker because Kyogo, or a new set of boots because those ones are backfiring. Gary McCown says we let them back into the game last time. It won't happen again. They know who the champions are. Taylor will start, says Big Rab B. Ooh, it's getting interesting. I would love to see Bob Hag, Alex Ray manage that mob. He did manage them. He was interim manager for a couple of weeks, was he not? When one of them got sacked. There's been that many been sacked, I don't know. Carly says, usually when Kyogo fucks up, he makes up for it with a wonder goal. Please, Kyogo. I think that it's been such a continuous vein of form for Kyogo where he's been slightly off. I mean, he's not as prolific as he was. And you can't say it's the training, that you can't say it's Brendan Rodgers, you can't say he doesn't like the style, because all that's now out the window. The way that Celtic are playing, when he's 1-on-1 with the keeper, he's lost that instinct. He's lost that killer instinct for me. I think that the best strikers do not think about things. They do not think about what they're going to do. They just get the ball and do it. You know, it's like the one-touch pass. Celtic have went away from that. We started the season playing very, very fast-paced attacking football, where it was one-touch pass, and it was brilliant. And everyone was like, oh my God, where's this come from Brendan? It's not the side-to-side passing rubbish that we've had over previous seasons with Brendan. It was fast-paced attacking football, one-touch pass, which then allowed the likes of Kyogo to get in front of goal, Dyson Maeda to get in front of goal when Kyogo's out, and, you know, put the ball in the back of the net. Kyogo's getting the chances, but he's putting them a lot more wide than he is in the back of the net, and I think that seems to be the issue. Anyway, Kaiser says origami shoulders and Toblerone toes. Kyogo has had recent months. Good shout, Wee Miller. Who said Wee Miller? I have no idea. Just trying to get through these comments. Tamax, we all know that Kyogo's a wee wizard. When it happens, he'll come good again. Yeah, Tamax, it's all saying that he'll come good again, but I think he's missing the easy chances, and I think that he's overthinking it. That's just one personal opinion. I mean, we're all entitled to our opinions on this channel, and that's why I go through as many as we can. But I just think that there's something going on where he's taken too long to think about it. You know, he's not got the instincts that he had in the first couple of seasons that he was here, where he would just shoot at will. He seems to be just taking that little bit longer, and I think that's the only thing. Maida seems a bit off the boil for me, says Perry. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, said Carly. Yep, that. Kyogo needs to get his shooting boots on. To be fair, Hampden, he's ruthless at Hampden. Yeah, he is that. Kyogo has had a bad off for 2 seasons. I wouldn't say 2 seasons, but the second half of last season he done okay. Big Rabi says the team for tomorrow, he reckons, it'll be Casper, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Liam Scales. Ooh, that's an interesting. And Greg Taylor. Now, see, you're going with sentiment. Listen to what Brendan Rodgers said. He said sentiment doesn't come into it. I think we'll go through the rest of your team, and then he's going to go Kalmak, Hatate, Engels, Maeda, Kuhn, Kyogo. Taylor will start as he works his best with Dyson Maeda. I'm not too sure. And we all know that I've said it before, that I think that Greg Taylor will be on his way out of Celtic. Brendan Rodgers said in the interview today, sentiment doesn't come into it. Don't care how long you've been here. I don't care how good a player you are. I'll pick the team that I think will win. I think he'll pick Alex Bailly, and I think he'll also pick Austin Trusty. I think he'll pick Austin Trusty because Liam Scales has his little Liam Scales moments. We all know that he has them. He's a fantastic player, but he has these moments in games, and especially big games, especially in the Champions League, that's ultimately cost us goals. Little lapse of concentration, and the manager does not want that. And I think he's going to go, we'll wait and see till the team comes out tomorrow. It'll be an interesting live, an hour and 15 minutes before the game. So make sure that you are on tomorrow night for the live. But I think he might just change. I think that might be the changes. Tamax says overthinking Baz. Yep, talking about Kyogo. I think he is overthinking it. I just think he's taken, rather than just when he gets that through ball when he gets the ball through at the weekend, and he's got 5 or 6 yards, and you can see what he's going to do. He wants to hit it into the side net so that he knows the keeper's no chance of getting it. But he's thinking about it too much. He's got this big gap. Just hit the target. Hit the target, and I think that's what he's doing. He's just overthinking it. Anyway, Perry says Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Trusty and Taylor in his opinion. Interesting that everyone's going for Taylor. Scales and Taylor will be out, says Jamesy Boy. Scenaries says Kyogo might come good tomorrow. An early goal will get a second, and I think it'll be 3-1 tomorrow. I think Kaiser says Kyogo's a Hun scalper. It's a pity we're not playing the Huns then, because playing Aberdeen. Anyway, we move on. Lorna Gallagher says, hit the thumbs up, troops, because there's been over 650 people on the live so far, and there's only 64 thumbs up. We have to stop making so many changes and get a settled team, says Jim McClarty. We do have a settled team. I think that the manager made so many changes in the last game due to the fact that we've got a semi-final this weekend. Okay, we've got a semi-final that we must win. It's a must-win game. So you rest up some of your players, because you know the players that start the semi-final at the weekend, if it goes the way that the manager will hope it goes, and if we go 2 or 3-0 up, he can then make the decision late on in the game to bring some players off to protect them for the Champions League game, because the Champions League game is just as important. It's just as important. If we've got any aspirations to try and amass 10 to 12 points in the Champions League, I mean, it's a home game in the Champions League. We're playing a team that's positioned way above Dortmund in the league. So, but it's at Celtic Park, and the manager will want to put on a good performance at Celtic Park and to show the fans that they can try and achieve something in the Champions League. So you've got to think about squad rotation. Big teams do squad rotation all the time. Big teams do not struggle with squad rotation. I've seen Barcelona do it here. They do it fantastically well. If you've got good players in, squad rotation is not a big thing. And Brendan Rodgers and everybody could say, it's because these players aren't playing week in, week out, and they're not up to match fitness, and they're a bit slower, and they're not. They train with each other. Good players. Brendan Rodgers isn't going to come out and slate the players like what Clement does, but good players can play in a system where it rotates perfectly. Nobody notices. Peter Larkin says, give Kyogo the Larson CD of how to score. Frank Boris says, Baz, I think you need to invest in YouTube Premium subscription. Not having to deal with adverts on YouTube is great. Frank, I think you're maybe right there, because I watch that much YouTube. Yeah, how much is it? I've never even noticed, actually. Yeah, I think I will, and then that way I don't have to deal with adverts. Although adverts are a fantastic thing for any YouTuber. I've just got to put that out there, because it's the way that most YouTubers make an income. But yeah, for what I'm doing, I probably need it. Dave Morton, I think extra time, don't say that, and then we've got the boys to win. Don't say extra time. You've got my guts going already. Don't say extra time, because we're never too clever when it comes to extra time. I think it'll be a late goal. Give me another late goal, a bit like what Tom Rodgers did at Hampden. I think Aberdeen will be pushing forward for a late winner also, if it's still level. I'm hoping that Celtic are 2 or 3-0 up before the last 10 minutes. At least two goals to the good. I believe that Aberdeen will score, but if we play our A game, and we play at the level that we know we can play at, there should only be one outcome. Let's face it, there should be only one outcome. Carly says, I've learned not to underestimate any Scottish team. Big Rab B says, do you think that this is Kyogo's final year at the club? That's way early, too early in the season to think about that. But knowing how looking at the way that Brendan Rodgers, well, look at it this way. The Japanese have a thing called Kaizen, not Daizen, Kaizen, and it's all about continuous improvement. I learnt this through my diploma of production and inventory management back in the day. A long time ago, and it was all about continuous improvement. The Japanese players know that they have a shelf life, and they try to continue each day. I mean, you hear Rio Hitati talking about it. He tries to improve. But Callum McGregor says that he sees Kyogo improving since he's came here. So the manager will do the same. Brendan Rodgers is already doing the same. He's bringing in players with 5-year contracts, and he's already looking at the next lot of players, and he will be identifying players and positions that he knows will have to be replaced at some point. And so that's why I think that, one, they're definitely looking at strikers. If Brendan Rodgers and the backroom staff weren't looking at strikers, I would say that they were negligent in their duties of being in the positions they are at Celtic. So yeah, I don't think it'll be. I'm not sure if it's going to be his last season. Well, look at it this way. He just changed agent at the beginning of this year. Now, he signed an improved contract last summer, okay? And at the beginning, before the transfer window closed, he changed agents to the CAA group, which is the same agent that Ange has, and it's the same agent of a few players that got transfers away from Celtic. So, you might say, is this the last season that Kyogo wants to play in Scottish football? Because that'll be 4 years now that he's been at Celtic, and any player, any foreign player, will be like, I want to go and try something new. I want to try something new. And the fact that the club has got them on a good contract is only for the club to make sure that it protects its asset and we get a good price for it. But it could be the fact that Kyogo goes, do you know what, I'm a bit fed up with this rough and tumble of Scottish football. I want to go and play in a league where it's not so aggressive. It's not so aggressive and the tackles don't come flying through you, and it's a bit more football, if you know what I mean. Kyogo would do brilliant in Spain. He would do absolute wonders in Spain. Anyway, forget about Engels. Says Hooper the Hound. James the boy, it's got the fear. McCown is cup tied. Yes, McCown's cup tied, can't play. That's why I don't think he'll be. Well, he's cup tied, he can't play. Unlike the game, we need to keep the foot to the metal. Don't let them back into the game like we did at Celtic Park. Please score early and settle the nerves, says Hazel67. There's never normally a quick goal at Hampden. It's usually towards the end of the first half. It's never an easy game at Hampden because you've got the big two sets of fans, and it's I don't know. It always makes me nervous going to Hampden, but it's always good when you win. James Boy says, "Is this team I've had a wee bet on is Cameron Casper Schmeichel, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Vickers, Alex Baye, McGregor, Engels, Hatate, Maida, Kyogo and Kuhn. Are you going with three at the back? You'll never go with three at the back. Never go with three at the back. Jamesy boy, you've only got three at the back. Not a chance. You've got Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Alex Baye at the back. That will never happen. He'll play trusty at the back, I think. I would have sold Kyogo when Ange left. It was always going to be the highest sell value, says Hoopy. Paul Maguire says, Alex Baye starts for me. Taylor's not match fit. No, he's not. I would start with Alex Baye all day long. For the pass that he did, look back to the Luke McCowan goal. And the pass that he did for Luke McCowan, you actually see him pointing. He's running for, and he's pointing to Luke McCowan to exactly where he wants him to go, because he knows that he's going to put the ball there. This guy's got a football brain, you know. He doesn't come through the Barcelona system if you're not a good player. This guy he's going to be a cracking little player, and it'll be something else if Celtic can manage to get him, because I think it'll be one of those ones that Barcelona would put a 20% sell-on clause with, or an option to buy back clause. That would be interesting. Lorna says she's waiting to put the dinner on. Our boys are wanting fed. Take care, troops. Perry says we can't let Kyogo go until we have a proven replacement. I think, watch this space, Perry. I think Celtic will be actively looking for a third striker to come in, with the knowledge that Kyogo may go in the summer. Will it be the winter window? And then, if it is the winter window, it's generally a good time to go and buy players from Sweden and stuff, because they're shut down then, don't they? And the likes of Brøndby and that, they don't play during the winter due to the fact that it's like dark for the next 3 months. And James Boy says, adios Lorna. Hopefully real Celtic turn up, says Big Des. James Boy says, sorry mistrusty. Yeah, I thought so. I have confidence going into the game tomorrow, says Big Des. Hoopy says, has Baye not a 3.5 million buyout clause? Nobody really knows. It was never spoke about. All that was spoke about when he came to Celtic. I mean, there is a reduction. He was once valued at 30 million by Barcelona, and they mucked up with his contract. They never renewed a contract on the 1st of June. They didn't renew it until the 15th of June, and they say it was an oversight, which then took away the 30 million clause, because they had a clause in his contract that there was a buyout clause for 30 million. This is how much they rate the player. If Celtic do manage to get him, and he turns out to be half the player that Barcelona think that he's going to turn into, I mean, Celtic are going to end up getting him, and then they're going to sell him to maybe back to Barcelona or a big club down south or someone in Europe. Baye didn't want a loan to buy. Why should Baye play above Taylor, says Big Rab B? Because Taylor isn't going to be here after this season. So why shouldn't he play? Why shouldn't the manager play someone that is brought in that wants to be here? The manager said this last season. He said it last season in the run up to Christmas. I'll play players who want to be here. He said the exact same with Turnbull. And then we sold Turnbull for 3 million. Nobody expected us to get 3 million for Turnbull. I still think that Celtic will keep Taylor fit enough to improve his fitness and make sure that he's 100% fit for the transfer window. It's my opinion, and he won't be here. If he's not signed a contract by the 29th of December, he will be sold in January. So Brendan Rodgers will know that situation, and Brendan Rodgers will then know that because he's going to be sold, he has to play Alex Baye, because he's committed himself to the club for the next year. And that's why he would play Alex. And that's Brendan Rodgers said in the interview. There's no sentiment when it comes to this game. No sentiment whatsoever. Don't care how long you've been here. Don't care how many titles you've won. Don't care how many times you've been to Hampden and done it before. Don't care. It's about putting the best team out that he thinks can do the job. And for me, that was talking about Greg Taylor and his position. And ultimately, I think it might have been talking about Scales, because he's got a massive decision to make tomorrow. You know, Scales wasn't a player that he had at the club. He's been surprised by Scales. He brought in Trusty. To play in the position that Scales plays. He moved, rather than take Scales off, he moved him over to the left back. You never know, Scales might get pushed out to left back. There's something that I never thought about. I don't think it will happen, because personally I thought Scales was a little bit of a nightmare in the left back position. But there we go. That's my thoughts on it. After... who was it that said, why should you play? It was Big Rabbi Niz says, Baye didn't want a loan to buy. It's not up to the player. It's not up to the player to get a loan to buy. That's up to the clubs. And Barcelona had put him on a 2-year contract with a 2-year extension. It's not the player's position to get an option to buy. He just gets told he's going out on loan to Celtic. Simple as that. So, you know, saying that it was Alex Baye that didn't want an option to buy, it's nonsense. He's got a contract with Barcelona till 2026, and then he's got a 2-year option over and above that. Anyway, I think he'll go with Scales and Trusty at centre half. I think Kieran's on the bevy. Yep, it's joking, mate. But not a chance. He'll never go with Scales and Trusty at centre halves. He'll go with either Trusty or Cameron Carter-Vickers, or Scales and Cameron Carter-Vickers. Back four will be Cameron Carter-Vickers, Trusty, Ali Johnson, and Alex Baye. Yeah, I think so. Joseph Davison, I think so. I think you're like that. Just the squeaky bum time. It's not the squeaky bum time. Big Des says this is the games where players cave. I don't think that the Celtic players will cave tomorrow. Good chance Baye won't be here next year also, Baz, says Hoopy. He's going to be here after the next transfer window. He's going to be here to the end of the season. That's my point. He's going to be here to the end of the season. Greg Taylor won't be here to the end of the season. Not a chance. Celtic will not like Greg Taylor, and they won't let him hang around to hopefully sign a contract. They lost out on the young lad, Kelly. Was it Daniel Kelly in the summer. They got peanuts for Daniel Kelly because they hung around and they allowed him to fucking run down his contract. Celtic will not do that. Celtic will not let Greg Taylor stick around until May to then not sign a contract and walk out the door for free. Not a chance. I don't know what you're drinking if you think that's going to happen. There's not a chance. There's nothing to suggest it will happen. The way that Celtic have concluded their business over the last couple of years, when a player gets to the end of a contract, if he has any kind of value whatsoever, he'll be sold at the next possible opportunity, and that's the next window. The manager would have given Greg Taylor between August and Christmas to sort out his Celtic contract if Celtic have given him a contract. There's been suggestions that Celtic haven't even given him a contract, and if that's the case, they want rid of him, so they'll sell him at that window. So coming out and saying that, but Alex Bailly will not be here, he'll be here till May, and the manager will play players that he knows is going to be here after the Christmas period. It's as simple as that. It's a no-brainer. Anyway, Alex Bailly offers more moving forward, says Jamesy Boy. He does that, and I think he's a more intelligent player, to be fair, at his young age. 3-0 says Joseph Davison. Let's be confident. And Brendan, we trust. 70% for Vi. 70% for Vi. Let me just go. Oh, there we go. Don't look to that. It's only 95. So 70% of the people on here, does Brendan Rodgers start with Alex Bailly or Greg Taylor? And 70% are going with Alex Bailly. So there you go. I wasn't even looking at that. There's 95 votes in. 95 votes in, and that is the case. I take it people are jumping off to let me just say, it's only 6 p.m. After your podcast, Baz. It's not much for me. There should be more pods like you last longer, and especially on a Friday night before the cup game. Friday nights, nobody's on a Friday night. I've tried to do podcasts on a Friday night, Tam, and it's plus a lot of people listen into Super Scoreboard, so you can be on for an hour and then we'll get 1,000 views, and really, I mean, it's not really worth it to a podcaster to just get 1,000 views in that hour. So there's better things that you could be doing with your time. I can get 1,000 views in an hour and an 8-minute video, so but yeah, I get what you're saying. A lot more podcasters should do it at night, but the only real big podcast is a Celtic State of Mind. And they've got their slot. I mean, the Celtic State of Mind runs as a business, so who you can check at Company's House, just saying. But they run it as a business. The website, the events and everything, they run it as a business, and that's why they've got so many people on board at a Celtic State of Mind. And then when you look at any other podcasters, they're journalists. They're journalists that are just on YouTube. So there we go. A lot of people are jumping. See, I'm seeing a big dip in people watching this because everyone will be jumping off to go and watch Super Scoreboard. So there we go. So I have been on for an hour. This is raw. I love it, says Tama. Yeah, it is raw, and that's the way that it should be. Brendan will be looking at another left back to bring in possible giant Joseph Davison. If we sell Greg Taylor, Brendan Rodgers will bring in. It has been said, and we're going to say it again. The speculation for Kieran Tierney will go through the roof. Now it will not be Kieran Tierney on a full contract. It will not be with an option to buy. I don't think. I think it'll be just to get him fit, and then I think he will head back to Spain. James Boy says, "Hello, Tam, mate. Just letting you know if you're bored." I don't know. Kaiser says that he's not a journal. Kaiser, you've not got your own channel though. You're on the Celtic World, which is just folk from all around the world. But I'm talking about the bigger podcast, you know what I mean? They're all journals. I'm not lying, you know what I mean? It is what it is. They're journals that do Celtic channels. So there. There's a Stevie guy on Friday night. He hated me last night. Is that Stevie guy? I have no idea. He's talking about arms. Once Celtic fans' views better quality, Baz. Thanks for that, Jim. Baz, you're the best. Keep going. Don't stop. Lol. Says Joseph, try to keep me on air. I hope to God we're comfortable in position before the last quarter. Hope to God we're in a comfortable position before the last quarter. I think that we get this win, we ain't keeping Alex Baye. Shouldn't be developing him for another team. Chilpil, I think Alex Baye was brought in because Celtic never had a lot of options. I think that they must have went to try and get a left back, and it didn't work. They knew this young guy at Barcelona. Barcelona were wanting to put him out on loan again anyway. He was brought in and around the first team. He was at Juventus last season out on loan. You know, they mucked up with the fact that they had a 30 million buyout clause in his contract. They mucked up with that. If it is reduced, do you know, it might be the case that the player goes, you know what, I might want to stay at Celtic. They're giving me I'm getting my big chance here. And you've got to think it as this as well. The player, when it comes to the end of the season, might say, do you know what, I might just say to Barcelona, if I'm not going to get in the team, I'd like to go back to Celtic because they're giving me a chance. There's younger players at Barcelona that are getting their chance right now. There's a 17-year-old at Barcelona that's absolutely on fire. That tells you the standard of the player that Barcelona are bringing through. Now, they're more than adequate for that position as it stands just now, and they do see Alex Baye as one for the future, but you never know. Who knows? Taylor's all right in the SPFL, but the Champions League that shows him up. Alex says we need cover in that position. We'd struggle without. Yeah, I think we would be totally struggling. 3-1 tomorrow. We've never even done a score prediction. We'll do a score prediction tomorrow morning, and we'll go live tomorrow morning, I think. First thing in the morning. Yeah, do that just for a change. Saturday morning live. Chilpil says the only reason Baye has had a run because Taylor got injured. It is because he got injured, but he's shown that he's more than an adequate replacement, Chilpil. He's shown that he's more than an adequate replacement. And Brendan Rodgers, it wouldn't have gone missing with that pass. I mean, you need to go back and watch it. You'd have been at the game. You might not have seen what he did, but you need to go back. I'll listen to Super Scoreboard for about half an hour. It's the same shit. Bob. Or the BAM's talking. Big day, so slagging Super Shitey board. Do you just want to listen to Super Shitey just for a laugh? An extra 10 minutes. Let me just see. Are they live? Yeah, they're live.
Viajar por trabajo es mucho más complicado de lo que la gente se imagina. Hay mil cosas que tienes que tener en consideración. Yo creo que necesitamos un poco de ayuda.
Jesus.
Administration not getting paid, that's when you start thinking about what's happening upstairs, but up until that, your job's...
Should we hijack Super Scoreboard for 10 minutes or so? Tell me in the comments. I do like slagging them on Super Shitty board. Lois Keevan's on. Let me just see.
Monday to Friday in
run their contracts, and walk out the door for nothing.
Freedom for Scotland. What? Oh God. Let me just get up here.
Will affect the manager. I agree with Scott. Doesn't affect the players.
Right, let me just do this. Let's listen to them for 10 minutes just for the pure banter. 3-0 tomorrow. Aye, but it's going. Right, let me do this then. We can sit and hate a bit banter about them. I need to close the poll as well. I'll do one thing at a time. Right, Rodgers interview. Click on that and change that to Super Scoreboard. Click on that, turn the volume down so that right, you ready to listen to the Hun meltdown on Super Scoreboard?
It could have been better with the money they spent.
That's what I'm saying. So that might be a legitimate reason. In fact, I'm certain that's a legitimate reason as to why it's very difficult to then keep pace with Celtic, who have all those things and who are doing all those things and have more money. But can you be a better version of yourself just when you go on the pitch at the weekend? And that's the bit,
training ground match day.
That's the bit that will have to come back on any manager, surely.
That for me is what Philippe Clement's job is on the training pitch. on a Saturday, Sunday, whenever it may be, can he get the best out of his players that he's got on the pitch and available to him? No, he's injuries here and there, but like Cammy says, they have enough players and quality in that squad. If you get a structure and something for the players to get into better areas, which we see clubs with much less budgets and other sort of situations, they do it better, and they're doing it better than Rangers. Aberdeen were in a completely different situation come the start of the season. They lost their best player, Majovski, and now look at them, because our manager's come in organised, and you can see the work he's doing is now paying off on the pitch.
Because is that part of the problem, Cammy? I know Planet Glasgow, no one will admit it, and second is nowhere, all these types of things I hear, but I think deep down Rangers fans would accept is definitely the wrong word, but maybe understand that in this circumstance, with whatever's in the boardroom, with the lack of finance, with the downsizing of the squad, it probably is difficult to keep up with Celtic. But right now they can't keep up with Aberdeen currently, so I know that might be a short term thing, we'll wait and see, but that's why this week's a real issue, isn't it? Because it's not just about trying to keep up with Celtic currently.
No, and I think what the issue is as well is they've recently been beat off Kilmarnock, so again that's fresh in your mind in the league, and then they've went and had a huge game against Aberdeen knowing what was on the line, and lost at Pittodrie. It was never going to be an easy game because Aberdeen are a good side, but I firmly believe Rangers have the players in the squad to go there and win. And I just think the lack of style of play, lack of ideas on the pitch is really shown, and I sometimes look at Rangers and wonder what they're doing on the training pitch. I genuinely do.
Let's thank Ian for his time, and let's hear from the man in question, Philippe Clement. He says he's very confident he will remain as Rangers manager. That's despite not having any discussions with the board following Wednesday.
I'm very confident about that, because that was also the really clear message to step in a story for longer term. They knew everything about the numbers, about what was necessary, and I don't want to repeat all these things. I think I said it enough. And what consequences it can have, and it's about small margins, like last season, taking those margins and making it better again. Last season we turned it around in a really short period in that way. I'm convinced that can happen now also. But of course I wish it was in Aberdeen that we took the victory there. That would have been the big step forward. I know which project I started in June. It was another project than I started in October. So those things were less clear. We had this talk in June that it was a really, really big challenge. That's why there were also negotiations about the contract and what to do in that way from both sides. And we're gonna continue working on that. Of course, I believe in all these people because it was all board together. It was not only one person. It was all board together going for this story, because the story from before was not sustainable. They didn't want to go back to 2012 where the club was bankrupt. It's never about no matter what. It's about we know how difficult it will be, and we're going to stick together, and we're going this project together for the next couple of years. Oh my goodness. That's been clearly talked about. Of course, I know if you lose 10 games in a row and all the players, they don't want to work with you, then there's an environment that you cannot work to. But that's totally not the case.
Let's bring in Colin, who's a Rangers fan, on the line. Colin, I know many people were looking at the last couple of days and maybe wondering if there would be change, expecting it, but it doesn't sound like it. You would take him at face value there, so does that surprise you?
Definitely. I phoned up last week and I had a bit of a rant. Didn't really give you guys a chance to talk to me.
Yes, you're more important than us. You carry on.
Right, so one of the main points I made last week was, and I've said this pretty much to all my mates, and
Rangers are shite
as well, and we've spoken about it and all the rest of it, and now Chris Boyd and Sutton speaking about it. But I've been saying it from the beginning. What happened to the days where you would put a team out and you know your first 11? And I know we've had all the excuses about the injuries and everything like that, blah, 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 but he still had enough players to put out. This season, definitely. But since he's came to Ibrox, he's never played the same team twice, ever. And the players, again, swap positions every week. Now, you could name pretty much Brendan Rodgers' team. You could pretty much name the Aberdeen team, the Kilmarnock team. The Rangers players themselves, I think, 2 or 3 days before a game, don't know where they're going to be playing. Don't know if they're, where they're going to be playing, if they're going to be playing. And, I was brought up in an era where it was nothing to do with this minutes that you keep speaking about. It was your best players play. The other good players you've got have got to force their way into the team. It wasn't about minutes. It was about forcing your way into the team. And you kept yourself fit on the bench, ready for somebody to lose form. But the starting 11...
What's this guy's point?
With Clement, he reminds me of a PE teacher or something. It's just every single week, he's constant.
That's kinky shit, that.
What do you think about this constant, every single week, since he's came to Ibrox, changing the team around positions and everything like that, and talking about minutes all the time, this player can play?
I think it's more concerning that this guy thinks that Clement's a PE teacher.
Smith brought Mark Haley back, I think, what was it, for one game? Against Celtic, and a goal.
How many years ago was that? You're talking about 30 years ago Haley played for Rangers. This is where they're delusional.
You calling, obviously, from the outward looking in. I think the minutes and the amount of times he's went back and the amount of reliability he has in his medical staff, which is quite surprising for a manager of Rangers to kind of say so much in interviews. I think the fact that Tierney's maybe available for the weekend but wasn't ready for Wednesday, if it was down to minutes, why not say give us 60 minutes on Wednesday? At that moment in time, it's the biggest game in Rangers season. He then doesn't play, not part of the squad, but he's now going to be fit for Sunday. So I think you've got a valid point in terms of that. I think in terms of chopping and changing, the inconsistency in terms of player performances maybe played a huge part in that. I think if we go from one week to the next, who's had a good game, and I think if I was to ask you what's Rangers' best team, you'd be scratching your head trying to find out what you think the best team is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Scott. I think that I don't think Clement knows his best team. I don't think anybody knows Rangers' best team at this moment in time because of the inconsistent performances individually. But again, is he allowing the team to settle? A look at the back four, obviously being an ex-goalkeeper, that's chopping and changing your back four. Yes, there's going to be injuries. It's not ideal. You want to have a settled back four. You want to.
I've had enough. I can't listen to any more of that nonsense. It's two ex-football players making excuses for Rangers, and did he even play tomorrow? Did they not play on Sunday? It's just an apologist fucking channel, and who cares? Anyway, Tony FC disappointed. Predictions for tomorrow. Let's get our predictions in for tomorrow before we finish off. There will be a live first thing tomorrow morning. Take that back off because I'm not listening to that crap anymore. Delete. I'll remove it so I don't. There we go. Perfect. Score predictions for tomorrow. Right, just get it up on the screen. To that. I'm about to put my prediction live on the screen. Celtic 2, Aberdeen 1. That'll be my prediction. I think it'll be Celtic will score first, Aberdeen will then score either just before half time or just after half time, and then Celtic will get the winner. We're in about 5 minutes to go. Celtic will get the winner with 5 minutes to go. What is your predictions in the comments? 4-2. I see you're going with these big score lines. Burns were happy and mentioned 22. Yep. If the Huns don't score early, the pressure will be immense. 20 minutes and you can hear the boos. Yep. Right, let's get some of the score lines. Kaiser, he's going for 4-2 tomorrow. Kevin Carson's going for 3-1. Kevin Kimmett's going for 4-1 Celtic. Pubcat's going for 4-1. Danny Cassie's going for 3-1. Chilpill's going for 2-0 the Hoops. Joseph says 4-0. I don't see it. If it's 4-0, it'll be one of our best results this season so far, especially against Aberdeen. We all know the media aren't reporting total meltdown. Do you know what the media aren't reporting is the fact that this club last year again lost 17 million. that club will have to spend no money, and anybody that's ran a business knows that when a business goes into 17 million worth of debt, they're going to have to get Champions League football, and they're going to have to spend no money just to get back on an even keel. 17 million worth of debt, that is going one way. They will not sack their manager because they cannot afford to bring anybody else. They cannot afford another rebuild, and they're just going to have to like it. And that's why they've not got any directors, because the directors took all their money out and buggered off again. Anyway, Big Diz says, yep, Baz, that's what we're on about. The chat, can't hear the crap pundits. Paradise Found's going for 3-0. Patrick McGarry's going for Kyogo to score 2, plus Bernardo to make it 3-0. Lump the ball. Huns on the rocks. There's no surprise. The Rangers are shit. They died before our eyes. Glasgow Boy TV is going for 2-1 Celtic. Tamac says we'll be lucky to get into we will be lucky to get into Europe next season. Different format. We'll be lucky to get into Europe next season. I think that as long as we get through the qualifiers into the Champions League, we'll get back into the Champions League. It just depends on the qualifiers. We'll wait and see. There's a lot of football. Bad Gravity, missed the morning show. Got to pick up a new truck in the morning. But there you go. Great minds, Baz. Neil Diamond. You know it, Kaiser. Oh, that's why I love you, Kaiser. I'm absolutely brilliant. Darren Cassie says it'll be 3-1 with Kyogo to score. So that's as done and dusted. There's only been 900 people watched the live tonight, which is a little bit down for a Thursday night. It is a little bit earlier than normal. Usually do it around about 8 o'clock on a Thursday, so maybe that is the fact that is. What day? No, it's not. It's Friday, isn't it? That's why. That's why it's Friday. That's why it's lower. It's Friday. It's Friday. See, I just have totally lost the days just now. Anyway, thank you to everyone who has watched the live this evening. Thank you to the subscriber that got us to, and the people that have subscribed over the last couple of days to get us up to 19,500. We are on the road again to try and get to that 20,000. It'll be absolutely massive if we can do it before Christmas. 2 months to do it, 250 subs a month. December's always a good month to get a good. I still think we might do it. Just in at the beginning of November. We usually do a bit more, but the views I've been doing this month, I think the views are down just because of the fact that we've been doing so many lives. People are not clicking on the lives as much as they used to. Anyway, on that note, let's jump out of the comments. Perry's going for 2-0. Tamac said it's Friday, Baz. It's Friday, mate. Yeah, I figured that out once I realised. Hail, Baz. He'll miss him tomorrow. Someone from Motherwell, the Huns are coming. When's kick-off tomorrow? It's 5:30 tomorrow. 5:30 tomorrow. 6:30 Celtic Park. Because my phone just beeped half an hour ago now. 24-hour warning on my calendar. Jed Johnson says, I think it's going to be a belter of a game tomorrow with a high scoreline. 4-2 the boys. Chilpill, he didn't get a notification. That's weird. Stop drinking the Huntiers, Baz. It's late learner. My notifications let me down in the last 2 days. Same time, Max. Some people got notifications tonight and some people didn't. Strange. It's maybe because I didn't set it up early enough. I only set it up half an hour before, but who knows. Big Rab D says it's Friday. Yeah, I know it's Friday. Notifications doesn't always work, Baz. Well, check out the morning videos, or what I'm going to start doing is when I'm going to go live, I'll make sure that it's on in plenty notice. So if you just then click onto the channel, and then it'll tell you what time exactly it's going live. Anyway, tell Motherwell to guard the toilets. It's not at Motherwell, it's at Hampden. I'm up for 3 correct score predictions, 2-1 boys, says Mobley, and that is us done and dusted. Anyway, thank you for entertaining me for 1 hour and 23 minutes, 1 hour 23, 1 hour and 24 minutes this evening. And somebody's unsubscribed. There's always one, isn't there? Somebody just comes on to subscribe to get into the live and then comes off again. Anyway, who cares?